AL577, that was the AL577. So what it was the British, the RAF, they decided to move.
I'm mean and I won't buy a used Sorry.
By the way, that photograph will come out perfect.
Michael,
other people look at your screens, not on my screen.
I live with this now. Alright, Michael, are you done yet?
No, I'm okay.
You're alright.
I feel, I could go further if you want.
Do you want to do the top? Are we doing the top?
No, we won't.
It's up to you.
Not today.
It's up to you.
You want to?
Yeah, why not?
It's up to you.
If everyone's okay with it. If everyone's alright.
What's the add-on to it?
Well, yeah, probably an extra hour.
That's alright. Anybody in a rush?
We'll see about that now in 1 second.
Okay.
So the story with this, right? The Brits, right? The RAF. Sorry. The RAF, they just recently moved to this model of airplanes called Consolidated Liberator bomber, right? And this particular model, or this particular craft, was based down in Egypt, and its job was to train the other squadrons. So this was Squadron 108. And they were to train the other guys on how to use and how to fit it with armaments and all this kind of crack, get them ready for the war or whatever. So it actually only had 1 or 2 missions where it actually bombed stuff in and around that neck of the woods, down around North Africa. And then it was tasked with the mission to come back to the UK and to train guys up this neck of the woods and how to arm them and get them war ready and that. So it was on the way back. They were having a very pleasant fight over the Straits of Gibraltar and over Spain and that. And it was when they got to France, things started to go a little bit hairy, right? The weather got really bad, and they were actually they received orders to turn around, but they had malfunctions with their wireless radio systems and all this to do with the weather. And so they kept going, and the weather only got worse and worse and worse. And the story was they had 15 and a half hours worth of fuel. They had flown for 15 hours, so they had half an hour left of fuel. 2 of their engines gave up, so they were flying. They dropped from 3,000 feet down to 2,000 feet, and the weather got even worse again. So then they dropped to 500 feet. So they were really just flying. You could, see it and hear it. It was really foggy, right? So they were looking out for signs of civilization, and someone spotted lights, and they knew it was Dublin, right? So they flew down, and they knew they could fly up the coast. And they were trying to get to Newry. Ireland was neutral, so they didn't want to land in Ireland because they would have been apprehended and probably sent back to England. But they didn't want the hassle of that. So they were trying to land at an airbase in Newry, and they were spotted in Dublin. They were then spotted in Balbriggan by air watchmen. They were spotted in Dundalk, and then they lost track of them. So obviously, your man didn't account for these low hills flying at 500 feet, and they crashed in here. The account here, then, I will just summarise it for those who not willing or not arsed reading it. But your man, one of the survivors woke up and the plane had nearly burnt out at that stage, and he went to try and help his comrades, and there was nothing he could do. Most of them were burnt to a crisp. He realised then he couldn't walk himself, and he tried to crawl over the hill to look for help, and couldn't find anyone, so he crawled back. Next thing he woke up, and it's 3 hours later, he's been carried down on a stretcher, and later he found out he'd broken 2 bones, 2 discs in his spine were severed or whatever, so he was paralysed. So pretty harrowing story, but yeah, out of 19 passengers, 15 of them died and only 4 survived. Believe it or not, there was actually 3 crashes, one in 1941 and another in 1944, one American one and another English-British one, all in the Cooley Mountains here. So it was a bit of a black spot for aircraft crashes.
See, we're heading north.